The stars looked calm that night, too calm. Admiral Reyes stood on the bridge of the Horizon Sphere, Earth's most powerful command ship, staring into the deep dark of Sector 47. Around him, holographic displays floated in the air, showing dozens of blue dots, the ships of the human defense fleet. They waited in silence, engines humming low, like beasts ready to strike. It had been 10 years since the signing of the Galactic Accord, a peace treaty between humans and the alien Dominion, ending the longest war in recorded history. Both sides promised no more invasions, no more weapons in the border zones, and no more blood spilled for territory. But peace had always been fragile. "Admiral," said Commander HFY, her voice sharp but uneasy, "we're receiving a distress call. It's from the colony on New Carthage." Reyes turned slowly. "Let's hear it." The message crackled through the speakers, broken, desperate, filled with static and screams. "This is Governor Hale of New Carthage. We're under attack, Dominion ships, hundreds, civilians dying. Where is the accord?" Then silence. The bridge fell still. Only the hum of the reactors could be heard. Every officer on the command deck knew what that meant. The accord had been broken. Reyes clenched his fists. His reflection on the glass showed the hard face of a man who had seen too many wars. "Get me confirmation," he said. "Already on it, sir," Isha replied. A holographic map zoomed out, showing red enemy signatures flooding the colony's orbit. The Dominion emblem flickered across the screen, a sharp silver star, their mark of conquest. "They didn't just break the treaty," she whispered. "They shattered it." Reyes nodded. "Prepare all fleets for combat readiness. I want communication with Earth Command immediately." As the officers rushed to their stations, Reyes stepped forward and looked again into the stars. Somewhere out there, billions of humans still believed in peace. But he knew better. He had fought the Dominion before. He knew their hunger for control. And now, they had crossed the line. Hours later, deep inside the war room of Earth Command, the leaders of humanity gathered. Massive holograms filled the chamber, images of burning colonies, drifting wrecks, and terrified civilians. The Dominion had struck fast and hard, targeting defenseless worlds first. General Marcus Halden slammed his fist against the table. "They think we're weak. They think the accord made us soft." Reyes' voice was calm, but it carried a storm beneath it. "They're wrong. The fleet still remembers the old wars. We never forgot how to fight." President Amara Quinn looked at him across the table. "Admiral, if we retaliate, we'll end the accord completely. There will be no going back." "They ended it the moment they fired the first shot," Reyes replied. "The only thing left is justice." The room fell silent. The president's eyes hardened. "Then prepare the fleets. Humanity will answer." On the Horizon Sphere, the decks came alive. Pilots rushed to their fighters. Engineers loaded warheads into long silent launch bays. The ship's main AI, Astra, came online for the first time in years, its soft blue light glowing across the bridge. "Admiral Reyes," it said in a calm female voice, "war protocols have been reactivated. Awaiting your command." Reyes took a long breath. He knew what this meant. Billions of lives would soon hang in the balance. But humanity could not stay silent. Not this time. "All units," he said, his voice steady and cold. "Activate Operation Retribution. The Dominion wants war, they'll get one." A deep vibration rolled through the ship as engines powered up. The fleet's formation shifted. One by one, human warships emerged from the darkness, their hulls glinting under the light of distant suns. The sky filled with steel giants, the Titan-class carriers, Valkyrie destroyers, and Legion frigates. The legendary fleet, as they were once called during the First Galactic War, had returned. "Sir," Commander Isha said softly, "the men are ready." Reyes looked at the stars one last time. "Then let's remind the galaxy who we are." Far away, in Dominion space, a shadow watched. On a cold throne world of black stone and glowing runes, Supreme Marshal Vera of the Dominion smiled as she received the first reports. Humans will rage, her advisor said. They will come for us. Vera leaned forward, her crimson eyes burning with cruel delight. Let them. Their wrath will only make their fall sweeter. Back on the horizon sphere, Reyes stood before the vast viewing window as the fleet aligned. He raised his hand and gave the final order. All ships, jump to New Carthage. In a flash of blue light, thousands of engines roared at once. Space twisted, and the entire fleet vanished into hyperspace, leaving only silence behind. The Accord was dead, and humanity's wrath had just awakened. The stars tore open. A wave of blue light flashed across the void as the horizon sphere and her fleet arrived above New Carthage. What they saw made even hardened soldiers go silent. The once green world was burning. Orbital stations hung in ruins, their metal frames twisted and glowing red. Thousands of lifeless ships drifted through the wreckage, civilian transports, colony freighters, medical vessels. Commander Isha's hands trembled as she adjusted the sensors. There are still life signs on the surface, she whispered. But the Dominion fleet, they're everywhere. On the main screen, red markers filled the sky, hundreds of enemy ships, spread like a dark storm around the planet. The Dominion had brought their full force, confident humanity would not fight back. They were wrong. Admiral Reyes stepped forward, his voice calm but hard as steel. Open a channel to the entire fleet. A soft beep echoed through the bridge. Every human pilot, every soldier, every officer across the massive armada listened. This is Admiral Reyes, he began. The Dominion thought they could slaughter our people and hide behind a broken treaty. They thought humanity had grown weak. They were wrong. Today, we fight not for revenge, but for every colony that believed in peace. He paused. The silence was heavy, electric. Activate battle protocol. No mercy for war criminals. All ships engage. The darkness exploded into light. Hundreds of human warships surged forward in perfect formation. Railguns fired, glowing streaks of tungsten tearing across the void. Missile barrages flared like firestorms, ripping through Dominion cruisers before they could even react. The horizon spear led the assault. Its main cannon glowed white-hot before unleashing a beam that cut through a battleship's shield like paper. The Dominion vessel split in two, vanishing in a burst of blue flame. "Target destroyed," shouted Lieutenant Karev. "Good," Reyes said quietly. "Move us into the debris field. Use the wrecks for cover." The fleet weaved through the chaos like a living thing, disciplined, focused, unstoppable. On the other side of the battle, the Dominion commanders scrambled to respond. Human fleet, impossible numbers, where did they come from? They were supposed to be disarmed. Their weapons, what kind of power is that? Panic spread through the Dominion ranks. Their lines broke as human destroyers punched holes through their defenses. Commander Isha watched the chaos unfold. "We're pushing them back," she said, barely believing it. After 10 years, the fleet still fights like legends. Reyes didn't smile. His eyes stayed locked on the planet below. "The battle's not over yet. Prepare ground support. We're going to rescue whoever's left down there." A nearby officer turned in shock. "Sir, the surface is under heavy bombardment. No one could have survived that." Reyes stared at the burning world. "Humans don't give up that easily. Launch the dropships." Far below, the surface of New Carthage was hell. Cities lay in ashes. Dominion soldiers, tall, armored creatures with cold gray skin, marched through the ruins, rounding up survivors. In the shattered streets, a small group of colonists hid inside a collapsed subway tunnel. The air was thick with smoke. Among them was a young engineer named Mara Lynn, clutching a broken comm device. "We called for help," she whispered. "But no one came." An older man beside her shook his head. "The Accord's over, girl. Nobody's coming now." Then, suddenly, the ground shook. A rumbling sound rolled through the tunnels, deep, thunderous, growing louder every second. Outside, The clouds parted as fiery trails streaked through the sky. Hundreds of human dropships descended like meteors, engines roaring, weapons locked. The survivors looked up through cracks in the ceiling and gasped. They came. Mara breathed. Earth came back for us. The dropships hit the ground with explosions of dust and light. Human soldiers, armored, disciplined, fearless, stormed out, weapons blazing. Plasma fire filled the air as they engaged Dominion troops in brutal street combat. "Echo Squad, flank left!" shouted Sergeant Cole as he fired down an alley. "No one gets through." The Dominion warriors were fierce, but they were not ready for this. The humans fought with a fury that had slept for a decade, and now it was awake again. Above the chaos, the Horizon Spear hovered in high orbit, raining orbital strikes with surgical precision. Each blast cleared a landing zone for evacuation teams. Commander Isha watched the battle feed. "Civilians are being extracted," she reported. "Our people are holding the city center." Reyes nodded. "Good. Signal all ships. We're not leaving anyone behind." Hours passed. By the time the Dominion fleet finally retreated, the skies above New Carthage were filled with burning wrecks, most of them alien. The human fleet, though battered, still stood strong. The radio crackled. "This is Governor Hale," came a weak voice. "To whoever is out there, thank you. Humanity still stands because of you." Reyes closed his eyes for a moment. Then he turned to his crew. "Get our wounded aboard. We've sent our message." Commander Isha frowned. "You think the Dominion will stop now?" Reyes shook his head slowly. "No. This was only the beginning. The Accord is gone. The real war starts now." He looked out at the stars, cold, endless, waiting. "Prepare the fleet," he said softly. "Humanity is done holding back." 3 days after the Battle of New Carthage, space was quiet again. Too quiet. The human fleet drifted near the recovering colony, repairing ships, counting losses, and mourning the dead. Fires still burned across the planet's surface, but survivors were being evacuated. The smell of smoke and metal hung even in the recycled air of the ships. On the Horizon Spear, Admiral Reyes stood in the observation deck. Below him, the planet glowed faintly under the light of 2 suns. For a moment, he allowed himself to feel pride. The people of Earth had answered when others thought they wouldn't. But peace never lasted. Not out here. Commander Isha entered quietly. Her face looked tired. Dark circles under her eyes. "We've finished collecting the black boxes from the Dominion wrecks," she said. "You'll want to see this." Reyes turned as she placed a small holographic cube on the table. A shimmer of light appeared, showing distorted recordings, Dominion command logs. Phase 1 complete. The human colony neutralized. Activate the next stage of Operation Silence. The Accord was never meant to last. Reyes frowned. Operation Silence. Isha nodded grimly. "It gets worse. The Dominion isn't just attacking border colonies. They're preparing something big. Their fleets are gathering in the Eridani cluster. And there's something else." She hesitated before continuing. "They found one of our deep space outposts. Outpost E7. The one guarding the Warden facility." The words hit him like a punch. The Warden? That's impossible. It was sealed years ago. "Not anymore," Isha said. "They're heading there now." Reyes walked down the command corridor, his thoughts racing. The Warden facility, a forgotten relic from the old war. It was buried inside a dead moon, hidden from every map. The world believed it was just a myth, but Reyes knew the truth. The Warden was Earth's greatest and most dangerous creation. A defense project so powerful it had been locked away under the Accord's orders. If the Dominion reached it first. He stopped at the lift. "Isha," he said, "ready the fleet. We're going to E7. No one else can know about this." "Yes, sir," she replied. "But what if the rumors are true? What if it's still alive?" Reyes looked at her, his face unreadable. Then God help us all. Hours later, the fleet entered hyperspace. Blue light rippled across the hulls as they jumped into the cold reaches of space, toward the forgotten moon. When they dropped out of hyperspace, the sight before them froze everyone on the bridge. The moon hung silent and broken, its surface scarred by ancient craters. Around it drifted hundreds of Dominion ships, forming a blockade. Reyes narrowed his eyes. They found it first. Commander Isha whispered. Sir, we can't fight all of them head-on. Reyes turned to the tactical officer. Then we'll fight smart. Divide the fleet into 3 strike groups. I'll lead Alpha. We hit their flagship, hard and fast. Understood. The Horizon spear turned sharply, engines burning bright. The rest of the fleet followed in tight formation. The battle began in seconds. Dominion ships unleashed waves of plasma fire. Space lit up with streaks of red and blue, explosions bursting like stars. The Horizon spear cut through the chaos, its railguns ripping apart 2 enemy cruisers in a single volley. Shields holding at 65%, shouted Lieutenant Karev. Keep firing. Reyes commanded. We need to clear a path to the surface. Suddenly, a massive shadow moved behind the Dominion lines, a colossal warship unlike any they had seen before. Its hull was black and pulsing with crimson light. Commander Isha's eyes widened. That's not a regular battleship. It's a Harbinger-class dreadnought. The alien vessel turned slowly, energy gathering along its sides. A massive beam erupted, slicing through 2 human destroyers instantly. Evasive maneuvers. Reyes shouted. The Horizon spear dove, engines screaming. The beam missed by seconds, burning through the space they had just occupied. Reyes gritted his teeth. If they brought a Harbinger, then they know what's hidden here. Down on the moon's surface, deep inside the Warden facility, ancient systems flickered to life. Cold lights turned on after a decade of silence. Dust floated in the air as old machines hummed. A voice, mechanical but calm, spoke into the void. Containment breach detected. Reinitializing defensive core. Something massive moved in the dark. Metal groaned. Gears turned. And then a giant figure began to rise from its resting chamber. The Warden, Earth's forbidden weapon, was awakening. Back in orbit, the Dominion dreadnought powered up for another shot. Admiral, Isha said, her voice sharp, we can't hold this position much longer. Reyes stared at the surface of the moon, now glowing faintly blue. We don't need to, he said. The Warden's waking up. She turned to him in disbelief. You mean it's real? He nodded slowly. Real, and angry. The sensors spiked. A shockwave burst from the moon's surface, throwing every ship off balance. Then a blinding light split the darkness. From the crater rose a towering machine, 10 times larger than any starship, shaped like a humanoid guardian of steel and light. Its voice echoed across every channel in space. Who violates the peace of Earth? Every Dominion ship froze. Reyes whispered, Welcome back, old friend. The void itself seemed to tremble. Every ship, human and Dominion, stared at the impossible sight rising from the dead moon. The Warden stood taller than mountains, a giant of black and silver armor, eyes burning like blue suns. Each step it took sent ripples of energy across the lunar surface. On the Horizon spear, the crew watched in stunned silence. Commander Isha whispered, It's alive, after all these years. Reyes didn't move. His voice was low and heavy. That thing was built before the Accord. The Warden wasn't a weapon, it was a warning. Warning for what? Isha asked. He didn't answer. Because he didn't know. Not fully. The Warden raised its arm. Its massive fingers unfolded, revealing a glowing core inside its palm. A pulse of energy erupted outward, sweeping through the battlefield. Dominion targeting systems went blind. Their shields flickered. Engines sputtered. Sir, Karev said, eyes wide. It's disabling them all. Reyes grinned slightly. That's our chance. All ships, attack now. The human fleet surged forward again, missiles streaking through the void. Dominion cruisers broke formation, some colliding in panic. In minutes, what had been a confident blockade turned into chaos. But then, the Harbinger-class dreadnought roared to life. Massive energy wings unfolded from its sides, glowing deep red. Its commander, a pale alien with armor like obsidian, stared at the rising warden with fury. So, humanity kept its monster, the alien growled. Then we'll destroy it first. The dreadnought's central cannon charged. A sphere of energy gathered, bright, violent, unstable. Admiral! Isha shouted. They're locking onto the warden. Not if we hit them first. The Horizon spear dived through the crossfire, weaving between explosions. Rhea's hands moved with precision. Bring all forward guns online. Target their cannon core. Locked. Fire. The main railgun fired 3 consecutive rounds. The impact shook the dreadnought, but it didn't stop charging. Sir, not enough. Karev yelled. Then the warden moved. It stepped forward, raising both arms. Blue energy rippled across its armor. Unauthorized aggression detected, its voice thundered across every channel. Applying containment. The warden's chest opened, revealing a spinning reactor brighter than any star. For a single heartbeat, the battlefield went silent. Then the light erupted. A colossal beam of pure white energy tore through the void, striking the Dominion dreadnought head-on. Its shields shattered instantly. Metal vaporized. The ship's engines detonated one by one until the entire vessel split apart, dissolving into fire. Even the Horizon spear was thrown backward by the shockwave. When the light faded, only fragments remained, glowing embers drifting through space. The warden lowered its hand slowly, like a god returning to rest. The battle was over. Dominion forces scattered, fleeing into hyperspace. Humanity had won, again, but this victory felt different. Uneasy. On the bridge, the crew cheered, but Reyes stayed silent. He looked at the moon below, now glowing faintly with blue veins of energy. Isha approached him carefully. Sir, what is that thing, really? Reyes exhaled. The warden was designed during the Dark War. It was Earth's last line of defense, an autonomous protector. But it wasn't just metal. It was part machine, part neural matrix, built from human minds. Isha froze. Human minds? You mean? Reyes nodded. Volunteers. Thousands of them. Scientists, soldiers, engineers. They gave their consciousness to make sure humanity would never be defenseless again. She looked back at the massive figure in silence. So it's alive. It remembers. Yes, Reyes said softly. It remembers everything. The comm system crackled suddenly. A deep, metallic voice filled the bridge. Admiral Reyes. Commander Varen. Your presence is required. Everyone froze. It's calling us, Isha whispered. Reyes hesitated only a moment. Prepare a shuttle. Moments later, the small craft descended to the moon's surface. The warden towered above them, half buried in dust and glowing light. Its head turned slowly as they landed, its eyes tracking them like a predator studying prey. They stepped out, boots crunching on cold stone. Reyes looked up. Warden, he called, his voice echoing. You were never meant to wake. The Accord forbade it. The warden's voice rumbled like thunder. The Accord failed. Dominion forces breached containment. Humanity is in danger. The directive remains. Reyes frowned. Directive. Preserve humanity at any cost. Isha shivered. At any cost. Yes. The warden's chest lights pulsed once, brighter now. Dominion is not the only threat approaching. Others are coming. They move beyond the edge of known space. They will arrive soon. Rhea's heart stopped for a second. What others? The true enemy. The ones who built the Dominion long ago. The wind howled across the lunar dust. The machine's voice grew colder. Prepare your species, Admiral. The war you just fought was only the opening act. As the shuttle rose back into orbit, the stars looked darker than before. Commander Isha broke the silence. Sir, do you believe it? Reyes stared out at the void. I don't know. But if the warden's right, he paused. Then the real war hasn't even begun. The Horizon Spear turned away from the moon, its engines flaring blue as the fleet gathered once again. Behind them, the warden stood motionless, its eyes glowing faintly like twin beacons in the endless dark. For the first time in a decade, the stars felt wrong. They pulsed faintly, almost as if something unseen was breathing behind them. Admiral Reyes stood on the command deck of the Horizon Spear, hands clasped behind his back, eyes fixed on the endless dark. It had been 5 days since the battle at the Warden Moon. 5 days since the machine had spoken those words that haunted everyone on board. The true enemy is coming. Since then, Earth Command had gone silent. No orders, no transmissions, only encrypted channels locked under emergency priority. The galaxy itself felt like it was holding its breath. Commander Isha entered quietly, holding a data tablet. Sir, she said, we've just finished decoding the warden's signal logs. Reyes turned to her. And she hesitated. It wasn't warning us about the Dominion invasion. It was trying to warn us before it even happened. Reyes frowned. Explain. The warden detected gravitational ripples, massive ones, from deep intergalactic space. Something huge is moving toward our galaxy. The Dominion's attack wasn't a conquest, sir. It was preparation. He stared at her, his jaw tightening. Preparation for what? She looked up. For extinction. Meanwhile, far away in Dominion territory, Supreme Marshal Vera stood inside her war chamber. Around her, red holograms projected a map of known space, showing Dominion fleets regrouping, repairing, preparing for the next war. Her advisor knelt before her. The humans have awakened their forbidden construct, he said. It destroyed the Harbinger dreadnought. Vera's crimson eyes narrowed. Good. Let it awaken. It will draw them first. Her advisor looked up in confusion. You mean the architects? Vera's expression turned cold. Yes. The creators of both our races. The ones who vanished after shaping this galaxy. They're returning. She walked to the edge of the window, staring into the red glow of a dying sun. The Accord was their design, a test to see if we could keep peace. We failed. Now they will come to reset everything. The advisor whispered, then both the Dominion and humanity are doomed. Vera smiled faintly. Unless we stand together. Back aboard the Horizon Spear, Reyes met with his command council in the war room. Around the table floated holographic projections of fleet positions and known Dominion routes. We've confirmed the Dominion fleets are retreating inward, Isha reported. But not toward their capital, they're gathering near the outer rim. Reyes studied the map. The same direction the warden's signal pointed. General Marcus Halden, linked in from Earth, leaned forward in his projection. You're suggesting they're preparing for another battle? Reyes shook his head. No. I think they're preparing for something far worse. Halden's voice hardened. Then we should strike now. Before they recover. General, Reyes said quietly, if what the warden said is true, another war between us would only weaken both sides. Are you suggesting peace with the Dominion? Halden snapped. After what they did. Reyes met his gaze. I'm suggesting survival. The line went dead. Hours later, Reyes stood alone in the observation bay. The stars outside flickered again, just like before. But this time, there was movement. A faint shimmer at the edge of the black. Admiral, Astra, the ship's AI, spoke softly. Sensors detect an unknown anomaly. Approximate mass equivalent to a small moon. Speed, beyond current propulsion physics. Rhea's voice was barely a whisper. Show me. The display zoomed in. Out in the darkness, a shape appeared, long, slender, pulsing with pale light. Not a ship. Not a meteor. It moved like something alive. Broadcast to all ships, he said. Red alert. Within minutes, the entire fleet came to battle readiness. Sirens echoed through the decks. Pilots scrambled into fighters. The Horizon Spear's massive cannons powered up, humming with energy. The strange object grew larger on the screen. Smooth, silver, covered in faint patterns that looked almost like veins. It stopped just beyond visual range. Then, a signal pierced through every frequency at once. A deep, vibrating tone that made even the air tremble. A voice followed. Calm, ancient, emotionless. We observe. We return. Every officer froze. Commander Isha whispered. That voice, it's inside my head. The AI stuttered, static flashing across the displays. Signal is not mechanical. It's transmitting through neural resonance. The voice spoke again. You have failed the accord. War was forbidden. Balance must be restored. Reyes clenched his fists. Who are you? We are the architects. We built your species. We built your enemies. You are both broken. The entire bridge filled with whispers, overlapping, echoing from nowhere and everywhere at once. Your world will be unmade. Your skies will burn. Your kind will begin again. Then the voice vanished. For a long time, no one spoke. The only sound was the slow hum of the engines. Finally, Isha said, Sir, if they built both us and the Dominion, then everything we've done, all our wars. Reyes interrupted softly. Were never truly ours. He turned to the crew, his face pale but his eyes fierce. But they made one mistake. Sir. They gave us free will. And that means we can still fight. He turned toward the command chair. Send a message to the Dominion flagship. Tell Marshal Vera this, humanity doesn't bow, and we don't run. As the Horizon Spear faced the silent shape in the dark, the warden's voice came again over the comm. Admiral Reyes. The architects have returned. Prepare for Directive 7. Reyes stared out the window, the silver shape now pulsing brighter, almost like an eye opening in the void. What is Directive 7? He asked quietly. The warden paused. The extinction of gods. The stars burned white as the fleet gathered. On one side, human warships, battered but proud, their hulls marked by the scars of 100 battles. On the other, the Dominion Armada, dark and jagged, like a swarm of blades drifting through the void. Between them hung silence and distrust so heavy it could crush worlds. No shots were fired. Not yet. Admiral Reyes stood at the center of the Horizon Spear's bridge, staring at the colossal hologram floating before him. It showed both fleets orbiting a dying star, separated by only a few thousand kilometers. One wrong move, one nervous trigger, and the last war of the galaxy would begin. Commander Isha whispered. Sir, they're hailing us. Reyes nodded. Put it through. The air shimmered, and a tall alien figure appeared, Supreme Marshal Vera herself. Her crimson armor gleamed under alien light, and her eyes, cold and sharp, locked on Reyes. Human, she said, her voice like a blade cutting through stone. We meet again. Last time, your fleet burned my ships. This time, you ask for peace. Reyes' jaw tightened. Not peace. Survival. For a moment, Vera said nothing. Then, slowly, she stepped closer to the projection. You believe in the warden's warning? I don't believe, Reyes said. I saw it. Outside, the darkness rippled. A faint distortion appeared near the system's edge, like a shadow moving behind glass. Ships across both fleets detected the anomaly, alarms echoing through the decks. The distortion grew brighter, stretching into a long vertical slit of white light. A rift. Contact! Unknown vessel emerging, shouted Isha. The light widened, and something began to crawl through. It was not a ship. It was something else. A massive structure of silver and black, hundreds of kilometers long, moving like a living creature. Its surface pulsed with blue veins of energy, shifting as if it were breathing. Every ship's sensor went haywire. Systems flickered. Even Astra, the AI of the Horizon Sphere, stuttered and froze for several seconds. "Admiral," Isha whispered, "that's not technology. It's alive." The architects had arrived. Their vessel drifted forward silently. A sound, not through comms, not through space, but inside every mind, spoke once more. "You have been measured. You have failed. Erasure begins." Suddenly, a wave of light burst from the creature's core. It wasn't fire. It wasn't energy. It was something worse, unmaking. Where the wave touched, matter dissolved. Dominion ships vanished in silence. Human frigates turned to dust. Even light itself bent away. "Evasive maneuvers," Reyes shouted. "Get behind the planet." The Horizon Sphere rolled hard, engines roaring. Around it, dozens of ships tried to flee the expanding wave. Half didn't make it. On the Dominion flagship, Vera clenched her fists. "Their power is beyond anything we've faced," she said. "But they bleed the same energy as you humans. Energy that can be broken." Reyes turned toward her image, which flickered on his screen. "Then we hit them together." "You would fight beside your enemy?" she asked coldly. Reyes met her gaze. "Until the galaxy is safe. Then we'll see." For the first time in history, the fleets moved as one. Human destroyers flew beside Dominion cruisers, covering each other's wings. Fighters swarmed through the void, diving between beams of white energy. "Target their core," Isha yelled. "All railguns, fire." The Horizon Sphere unleashed a storm of metal and plasma. The Dominion dreadnoughts added their crimson beams, slicing through the architect's outer armor. Pieces of glowing silver cracked and fell away, exposing the living veins beneath. For the first time, the creature reacted. It screamed, a sound that echoed inside every skull. The human and Dominion crews shouted in pain, clutching their heads. Astra's voice trembled. Neural interference rising. Their voice disrupts organic thought. Reyes' vision blurred. "Astra, shut down sound channels." The bridge lights flickered, then went dark. Only the red emergency glow remained. Moments later, the warden arrived. The stars bent as the giant machine descended through hyperspace, landing between the two fleets like a guardian of light. Its voice boomed across the system. Directive 7 initiated. Containment of architects in progress. Its chest reactor opened again, white light spiraling within. Reyes shouted, "All ships pull back. The warden's charging." The giant raised its arm. The light grew so bright it painted the stars blue. Then the warden fired. A colossal beam cut straight through the architect's ship, punching a hole clean through its center. The creature convulsed, its body twisting in agony, its voice turning from command to rage. Defiance detected, error, error. With one final pulse, the creature broke apart, scattering fragments of glowing matter across the void. When silence finally returned, half the stars seemed dimmer. The battle was over, but the victory felt hollow. On the bridge, Isha spoke quietly. "Was that it? Just one of them?" Reyes stared at the drifting remains. "No. That was a scout." The crew fell silent. Even the AI didn't speak. Far away, in Dominion space, Marshal Vera watched the same debris. She whispered to herself, "If that was only one, how many more are coming?" Her advisor turned to her. "What now, Marshal?" She looked toward the human fleet. "Now, we fight as one species." Reyes stood by the window of his ship, eyes fixed on the fading light of the dying architect. The warden's voice echoed softly through the calm. Admiral Reyes. The first wave has ended. But the architects do not forget. They will return with the rest. Reyes took a slow breath. Then we'll be ready. Outside, human and Dominion ships drifted side by side. Two enemies turned reluctant allies under a single truth: the galaxy was no longer theirs. The war had changed. And the real one was still coming. The stars were silent again, but everyone knew it was only the calm before the storm. The galaxy had seen the face of its true enemy. The architects were real. And the thing humanity destroyed was just their scout. Admiral Reyes stood alone on the observation deck of the Horizon Sphere. He stared at the silver fragments floating outside, the remains of the creature that nearly ended them all. His reflection in the glass looked older, more tired. But his eyes still burned with the same fire. Behind him, Commander Isha entered quietly. "Sir, the warden is calling." Reyes turned. "Patch it through." The lights dimmed. The giant machine appeared as a hologram, towering, bright, and ancient beyond measure. Its voice was calm but heavy, like thunder whispering through time. "Admiral Reyes, the architects are awakening. 100 gateways are opening across the void. You have less than one rotation before the full invasion begins." Reyes clenched his jaw. "Then tell me what we're up against." The hologram shifted, showing a map of the galaxy, now covered in glowing cracks of white light. Each one pulsed, spreading like a disease. "They come to reclaim what they built. Eons ago, they created the first life. When their creations turned violent, they erased them. You, humans, are their greatest mistake." Isha's face went pale. "We're their mistake? Their wrath is coming," the warden said. "But you are not alone." The hologram changed again, showing hundreds of fleets gathering across Dominion and human space. Thousands of ships. Millions of lives. For the first time in galactic history, every species had united under one purpose: survival. Hours later, the final battle began. The sky above the star system of Helion Prime turned white as the first architect armada arrived. They didn't come in ships, they came as beings. Massive living structures, shaped like serpents of light and bone. Each one as large as a moon, moving with unnatural grace. They filled the void like gods descending from heaven. Reyes watched them appear one by one, his voice calm even as every ship trembled. "All fleets, hold the line." The human fleet formed a wall of steel and plasma. Dominion warships took position on the flanks. Planetary cannons powered up below, turning whole continents into fire. The warden floated in front of them all, its massive body glowing brighter than a sun. "This is not just your war," it said. "This is the test of creation itself." The battle began with a soundless roar. The architects struck first. Their energy waves turned matter to dust. Dozens of ships vanished instantly. The void turned white. Reyes' fleet fired back with everything they had: railguns, plasma storms, missiles, beams of antimatter. For every architect destroyed, 3 more came through the rifts. Isha shouted, "We can't hold them." Reyes replied coldly, "We don't need to hold. We need to finish." At that moment, the warden spoke again. "Admiral, humanity's final weapon is ready." A new shape emerged from behind Earth's moon, a massive structure made of black metal and glowing blue light. It looked like a ship, but it was far larger, half machine, half being. Its name glowed across its hull: Project Helios. Reyes smiled faintly. "You actually built it." "Helios was born from every legend," said the warden. "Every warship, every hero, every sacrifice. It is humanity's legacy." The Helios activated. Thousands of smaller drones flew from its core, linking into glowing chains of energy. The weapon began pulling energy directly from the nearby star. The architects sensed danger. They turned, focusing all their beams on Helios. But the warden intercepted them. "I was built to defend life," the machine said, its body cracking under the force. "Today, I prove that purpose true. The warden charged forward, tackling one of the architect titans head-on. Light exploded across space. Its last words echoed in Rhea's mind. Finish what we began. The warden vanished in a blinding flash. Reyes looked up at the blazing wreckage. His voice broke but didn't waver. Helios, fire the judgment protocol. The giant ship obeyed. Its wings unfolded, stretching miles wide. The energy gathered between them, so bright it turned darkness into daylight. Judgment ready, said the AI calmly. All ships, shield yourselves. Then, Helios unleashed its power. A beam of white light shot through the center of the architect armada, slicing them apart in a single breath. The wave kept going, through the rifts, through their gateways, deep into the space they came from. The architects screamed, their forms breaking into shards of light that scattered like ash. One by one, the rifts collapsed. The sky turned black again. For a moment, there was nothing. Then the stars returned. The war was over. Helios drifted quietly, its surface cracked and burning. The warden was gone. Half the fleets were gone. But the galaxy was still there. Humanity was still there. Reyes stood on the bridge, looking at the endless sky. Isha stood beside him, tears in her eyes. Sir, we did it. He shook his head softly. No, Commander. We survived. Below them, the surviving ships blinked their lights in silent salute. Dominion. Human. All as one. Then a faint transmission broke through the static. A voice, ancient and echoing. You have survived your makers. You have proven your worth. The galaxy is yours now. Do not waste it. The signal ended. Reyes closed his eyes. Let's hope we earned it. Years later, people would speak of that day, the day the architects came and humanity unleashed its wrath. They would tell stories of the Horizon Spear, of the Warden's sacrifice, of Project Helios, and of the moment every race stood together. The Accord was gone. But something greater had taken its place. Not peace by treaty, peace by understanding. Because when the stars fell silent that day, every being in the galaxy finally knew what it meant to be human.